HR Famous is brought to you by HRU Tech, a contingent staffing firm specializing in engineering, IT, and technically related placements across multiple industries. If you're looking for technical talent or searching for a career, look no further than HRU Tech. Find them online at hrutech.com and call them today. HR Famous is also brought to you by Kinetics, the leading RPO recruiting firm for growth companies, named by HRO Today as the top midsize RPO provider. Kinetics uses its unique skill-based recruiter model to deliver on RPO engagements, allowing them to customize scope to meet your unique hiring needs. If you have recruiting challenges and want to consider RPO as a solution, give Kinetics a call. Find them online at kineticshr.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You know what time it is. It's HR Famous time. I'm Chris Dunn. I'm here with the one, the only JLee, and the slightly less exclusive Tim Sackett. Tim, I'll start with you because I know this gets like touchy, like quickly if I keep talking to JLee first. How are you, Tim?
I'm doing good. Was that a Howdy Doody reference that you started with? Wait,
play it back for me. I didn't get the Howdy Doody.
What time is it?
It's Howdy Doody time.
Showtime. Oh, I thought it was like a Hamilton reference. What time is it?
What time is
it's
it?
Also,
game time.
It's also an old school rap thing, right? Yeah. What time is it? Maybe they got that from Howdy Doody.
So I was just ragging on you pre-show on your rye bread for being old, and I just kind of like gave the oldest reference of all time with a Howdy Doody.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, for those that didn't catch the pre-show in the green room, I took a piece of rye bread and was JLee, I took a piece of rye bread and I just said, "Hey, it's tasty. Haven't had rye for a while." And all of a sudden, like,
I was asking,
I don't want to get too personal with anybody here, but all of a sudden, like, it's like I'm 90 years old, like on our podcast.
Rye with pastrami and sauerkraut, though. That's the jam right there.
Okay, JLee's coming in. I didn't have all of that, but she is adding a little credibility to my sandwich choices, which is nice. JLee, I'm going to stay with you. You know, we are, like, by the time this airs, we'll be in early February. New Year's resolutions gone. Dry January, which if you were participating, I'm sure went smashingly. And now we're left with the rest of the year. What are you watching on streaming? Give me two quick things that you're watching on streaming that our listeners can learn from.
Well, first, just on New Year's resolutions, so you know, I was endeavoring dry January, and then quickly it turned to, I'm just going to not drink during the weekdays. And then maybe about a week ago, I started pouring a glass of wine on like a Wednesday. And Bobby was like, you went from dry January to dry weekdays to what? I was like, hey, man, I got stress in my life. But what am I streaming? I just finished Station 11. So I just finished that. But what am I still streaming? I am watching the Sex and the City reboot. So that is one thing I'm streaming. And then just endlessly watching every franchise of Real Housewives. Classy stuff all around.
Well, those are great recommendations. So by the way, if you're watching the reboot of Sex and the City, you have seen the death of Peloton, like right before your eyes.
Yes.
Right?
That whole thing was overplayed. Also, I don't understand how Peloton let that happen, but...
No doubt. Hey, we're going to kill off one of the most notorious characters on your product,
but not tell you about it.
That'd be like Tim having his own. It'd be like Tim having his own show and saying, "Hey, Diet Mountain Dew, I love you. I love you so much that our main character is going to get like a Diet Mountain Dew bottle like caught in his throat. It's going to be horrific, but it's going to be." Just trust me. I think
it's great. It's a great product placement, right?
It'll be net ad. It'll be additive to your brand. All right, Tim, what do you got streaming wise?
Well, JLee stole my Station 11. I'm still kind of like, how the heck did this get greenlit in like 2019? And then it's so on point for the pandemic.
It's written in 2014.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's crazy. And it's good. in terms of character development and how they kind of put a wrap on everything. I really liked for like a one kind of season show. It's more like JLee, it's like an 11-hour movie or 10-hour movie, right?
Yeah.
They do a good job. The other one,
So-
KD, which is season 2 of the Righteous Gemstones, which is such a pleasure. I freaking just love the Righteous
Danny
Gemstones.
McBride.
Oh God, it's so great.
I've not seen that one yet.
Season
Mrs.
1
Dunn,
or 2?
Right. Mrs. Dunn mentioned that we had not watched season 1, and obviously we're Danny McBride fans. So
you will cry laughing.
We need to put that one on the list. Hey,
Yeah.
I know Tim loves it when I say for the uninitiated. For the uninitiated, Tim, can you give a 15-second description of what Station 11 is?
Station 11 is a post-apocalyptic. It actually starts right at the beginning of an apocalypse of a flu, right? That kills. Basically, I think the stat is only 1 in 1,000 survive this flu, and people just start dropping dead. And the story is really about a young girl in a man that because of the circumstance of the pandemic came together, and he ends up, like taking care of her because she can't get to her parents. Her parents ultimately die. I'm not really giving away, anything that's not, you're not going to find out in the first 5 minutes of this thing. But, and then it goes like how many years, like post-apocalyptic, JLee, like 25 or so or more. Like, yeah, it's really good.
Is this Contagion with Matt Damon? It sounds a lot like Contagion.
I think it has a happier ending.
It's probably more realistic in terms of just what would happen if everything just stopped and 1 out of 1,000 survived. Like just the reality, it's a little bit closer. And then it has a little more artsy to it, where like what happens to art, like in terms of like theater and song and all of that as well, right?
We have
By the way,
1,000th less art.
Well, but there's people there that will still,
Chris.
there's people that will try to actually make it done. Make it happen.
I'm not going to give anything away though, but Tim, you'll understand this. When I watched the episode about like babies, I was like, I ain't having any more children after I watch this. I'm like, I am not having children. I'm like, no more. All done. No thanks.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then one of the amazing things, Jay, the actor Prince, and it's Mpancha. He's the dude without arms and like has been through like there's a whole story to him, which is an amazing story on how he lost his arms and nearly his life, and he's got all kinds of scarring and stuff like this. And he's an amazing actor and plays a great part in there as well.
This makes no sense for Chris or anyone else who hasn't watched it, but I just walk around home sometimes and I just yell out, Jeevan! I just like, it comes out of me. It's like, I feel that like, Jeevan!
Yeah, it's a good story. You got to catch it. You haven't seen it then, Katie, I take it.
I haven't. I'm a little behind.
You're part of the uninitiated.
But I do have lighter fare to recommend. I have recommendations if you're interested. So I sent this to both of you, and neither one of you have like sent me a note back, which I get, right? We send each other a lot of texts, and it is what it is, right? Sometimes you're prioritized, sometimes you're not. But if you want a little lighter fare, if you want to get away from the 1/1000th of the world is now dead, I would recommend Southside on HBO Max. It's a show based in the Inglewood area of the South Side of Chicago. It centers around hilarious characters in the community, and it centers around basically people working for a
RTO,
rent to own, and they do all of these repos like in the neighborhood, and it's just brilliantly written. Tim, have you taken a flyer on it?
I'm like 4 episodes in. Mrs. Sackett,
you're getting the good part, by the way.
Doesn't enjoy it, huh?
Miss Sackett doesn't enjoy it. That's fine. Same with Mrs. Dunn, but you are getting to the good part. The second half of season 1 is unbelievable.
I know. I already think it's super funny. Like I like nonstop, like bust out laughing. So,
Officer Goodnight, the guy in the patrol car.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Jessica, maybe skip the first 2 and just go to episode 3, because Tim, you would agree that it runs a little bit hotter, like on episode 4. You feel it gaining steam, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. And then the other thing I've got for you, and we'll get to business, we'll get to some actual talent topics here on the talent show that everyone relies on, HR Famous, no big deal, is Ozark's back.
Yeah.
Season 4.
Did you have to go back and watch any of season 3, like the last one or something? Like, I feel like I have to go backwards because it's been so long since season 3.
They do a 2-minute, synopsis.
Yeah.
And it was kind of all I needed.
Okay.
I won't give any spoilers, but so I'm into that. I'm just wondering, how do you keep, money laundering and cartels? How do you keep all that interesting? We'll see.
In the Ozarks.
Is that Jason Bateman?
It is.
That's Jason Bateman.
Hard not to like. Hard not to like, right, JLee?
Love him.
All right, let's get to business. Got 2 things for you today here on HR Famous. Want to talk a little bit about whether employees, if they're actually growing concerned about inflation in a way that affects us as talent leaders inside company. That's number 1. And then we will also get to a red hot topic. Tim's going to love this one. We're going to talk about automated calendars. And are they good? Are they bad? What's it mean from a power dynamics perspective? I got a couple of tweets to read. But Jessica, I'm going to come to you first. So I'm reading this from an economist from Glassdoor. Here's the tweet. And the tweet, and we'll put this in the show notes, says that employees, this is just earlier this week, employees are growing increasingly concerned about inflation eating into their paychecks, with mention of inflation in Glassdoor reviews. So those mentions have risen 684% year over year in January of 2022, compared obviously to January 2021. And sentiment is mostly negative, with inflation 15 times more likely to be mentioned in cons than pros. Shocking, I know. And the thing I love about this, and if anybody's listening, you click through on the show notes below the player that you're using this, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you click through, you find the show notes and you go to the thing. What I love about this, JLee, and then I'm going to frame it with a question to you, is it shows a chart of this, this just mountain that's growing of inflation references in the cons section of Glassdoor reviews, but it doesn't tell us how many there were last January, right? So we don't know, what are we looking at? Are we looking at 200 total reviews? And now we have 1,200 that mention inflation in Glassdoor.
No, we're looking at 3, and now it's 24.
It's just a thing, right? It's you can do anything you want with the data chart. Now, Glassdoor generally, there's some canary in the coal mine there, right? So they should be looking for trends. But JLee, I'll start with you. How concerned should we be? And I'll frame it this way. How concerned should we be that inflation is impacting our employees to the extent where they'll think companies should help them make up the difference in inflation, which obviously this comes down to merit increases, salary offers for new people coming in, things like that. What's your reaction?
Well, I'm surprised, and I had to look at the actual paper because they do put inflation in quotations, saying actual usage of the word inflation is up 684%. And I'm surprised by that actual usage of that word. And so it made me wonder 2 things. One is, what's the population of people using Glassdoor, and is it reflective of it's skewing certain populations? Would articulate their concerns in that way? But maybe even more concerning thing to me is that there are a lot of people that probably have sentiments related to inflation who aren't using the word inflation. They're just talking about the price of gas, the price of bread, the price of milk, the price of their rye bread is increasing, and they don't feel like their pay is keeping up with that really expensive loaf of rye bread that they want to eat with their pastrami sandwich. And so that for me is one of the things I can't help but think about is, Yeah, there probably should be concern, but I don't feel like this is really scratching the surface for me and getting into, the concerns and how bad it might be. And I guess related to all that, where there may be greater concerns are with populations that maybe aren't using Glassdoor. But I haven't been on Glassdoor in a while, looked at their data to know like who's on it. I mean, if their data is spot on and the things that they're highlighting are reflective of the general population, like they do have someone who works at a zoo or a school bus driver who's talking about inflation. But I do think it's something that is like for us to have on our radar and to be really thoughtful about, to know like what are real people experiencing, but quote unquote impact of actual inflation, that word, I don't know. I feel like there's more to this.
Well, I agree. And, I think the Glassdoor stuff is pretty generalized. So I'll just give you an example from one of the reviews that this economist shared. Starts out with cons. Pay does not match the market and inflation rates. So Tim, like when you think about this, one of the things that Glassdoor's kind of like, I guess there's a love-hate relationship. It may only be one side of that, like for people that see reviews on their companies, as we think about all the HR people that listen to this. But, what that doesn't do, obviously, wages are increasing a lot. So I think the point they were making, Tim, was it's merit increases. And doesn't Glassdoor kind of like when they report things like this, don't they kind of like prime the pump like for more of these reviews and for employees to say the pay is not consistent with inflation rates? And they may not even know what that means.
Right?
Yeah.
Self-serving.
Yeah.
By the way, Katie, there's another stat in that paper, a 1,237% increase in the word Snoop Dogg in those same reviews. So take that for what it's worth. I don't know. I mean, are we more concerned with Snoop Dogg?
That's not real, correct, Tim? That's not real.
Not. That's not.
Thank you.
But literally, like come on, like JLee, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, who the hell uses the word inflation in a review? It's not a normal person. Now, will somebody come into like, hey, I need a raise because inflation's really getting us and the gas prices are higher and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're going to have some folks talk as a reason of why they want to raise. The reality is everybody's getting a raise right now if they have any kind of average performance or above, because they can just jump to a competitor, or your company's making market changes on seems like a weekly basis at this point. And like Katie, I do agree. I think that sometimes like we make content up to drive a narrative. And someone's like, hey, inflation, that has to be a big issue, right? And someone pulled the data. Oh my gosh, there's a 684% increase in that use. It is. And we just made up some content that we felt was important, but without the number of saying, hey, last year at this, that same period we measured, it was 7 reviews and now it's 40 reviews out of 14,000 a month we get in our system. We'd be like, wait a minute, that seems like it's not that big of a deal, really, right?
Tim, like pick one of the following. Glassdoor's business model is driven by A, joy, or B, misery.
It's also driven by web traffic, right? So how do we get the most clicks and how do we get people here? So
JLee,
it's cynical.
It's not cynical. That's their business model, right? They're known for having great web traffic,
So here's the other thing that's interesting. Let's say that this was like an actual trend and this is real. JLee, it kind of begs the question. So an employee comes in and says, hey, merit increases not matching inflation, but though I tried to make a count of the ways that conversation could go. And it's this big, broad, like, well, inflation. It's like, well, okay, let's like, if I'm the person on the other side of that, I'm like, well, let's talk about our business model. Let's talk about like the pressures on the business. And if we even have any pricing power in this environment, right? Because for the vast majority of companies in America, the answer is like, no, they're in a competitive environment. And we kind of like get this sense that everybody's like selling a used car and it's just gone boop. But most of our companies exist in a market that's super competitive, and we're not like outpacing those, like whatever that inflation rate is, right, JLee? I mean, it's like, it's a dynamic. There's like 55 angles to this. Once somebody would actually say, you're not keeping up with inflation. Just weird to me.
Well, I would say unless you're Peloton and you're having to drop your prices, but that's a whole other story.
And stop production.
Those poor guys. Ugh, not a good time to be a shareholder of Peloton.
Hi, I'm George LaRocque, and I'm looking forward to exploring the critical trends shaping the future of work and technology with you over on the Work Tech podcast. Now, this podcast is a little different. I bring together industry leaders, innovators, and investors, and we go deep into market intelligence that matters to HR pros and tech providers alike. So give the Work Tech podcast a listen here on the Work Defined Podcast Network, and please subscribe if you like it. See you there.
Tim, by the way, did pass the multiple choice question on the ACT of HR Famous. It is driven by misery, not joy. Like nobody's going to Glassdoor for joy. Would you agree with that statement? Is anybody going to Glassdoor for joy?
No.
For the big promotion?
Yeah.
For the sunny days of the pros?
Not unless your company is like incentivizing you to go put in a joyous review.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't say not incentivizing, encouraging,
making
promoting.
it very easy. Yeah.
All right, I'll end it with this. Tim, one of your employees comes in, says, Tim, I like the company. I don't love the company here at HR Tech. I know that doesn't happen very often.
No.
But I got to tell you, your pay is not keeping up with inflation. And then they're enough of a pro to stop talking. There's a pregnant pause just like that. And then you say what?
I said, well, if you work a little harder, you can make more money. No, that's what my mom would say. She told me that many times when I said, hey, I think I deserve more money. She's like, well, you're in a career where the harder you work, the more you make. You know, there's a part of this when if they use inflation in this year's kind of bubble of inflation that comes up, you know, do we really want to go down that path of taking a look at every year prior, right? Which is kind of averages around 1.5% to 2%. But we've been increasing pay at a clip of 5 to 10%, right? So, you know, we can go back and average that out, but it's, you know, it's kind of what it is. The reality is if someone comes to me and they're a good performer in this market, we're going to have a conversation of what it's going to take to make sure that they don't leave without feeling like someone's holding me hostage, right? So, I mean, that's just kind of the reality of our situation with the lack of talent that's out there. Or if I had to replace them, I'm probably going to have to go out and pay as much or more, right, for that same level of talent.
You know, you might be able to find great employees through a posting on Glassdoor, Tim.
I've heard that they have great traffic.
All right, enough about that. 684% increase in inflation.
The use of
comments.
Right.
All right, so let's lighten this up a little bit, shall we? Tim and JLee, let's talk about the power dynamics of using automated calendars. Okay, so we're talking about, I mean, I think Microsoft Office has one, right? I don't know what that's called.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. It actually syncs. Yeah, they do. Syncs up really well within the Office environment. And the big one is Calendly, correct?
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Isn't that a terrible name, by the way? Because no one really, it's hard to pronounce.
Am I saying it correctly?
Hard to say.
I think you are.
Yeah,
Calendly.
it's hard to say it, though.
You got to get the D in there. You got to get the D, hard D. Calendly.
Lee. Yeah.
Right?
Terrible
JLee,
name.
is that right?
Calendly.
Calendly.
Cowardly.
I love that we're going to spend 5 minutes on how to
Calendly.
pronounce this stupid company's name.
Okay, so here's my point. JLee, I'm close enough, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, Calendly.
Calendly.
It's hard. It's hard to pronounce.
It's really hard to say.
So there's a couple of tweets like flying around. There was a guy named Sam Lesson who did a thing called Calendly Etiquette is the most raw, naked display of social capital dynamics in business. Around the same time, Mark Andreessen, founder of Netscape, now at A16, like venture capital firm. Obviously, people want access to this guy, and we'll do links in the show notes to these tweets as well. Andreessen came out, and this was his tweet. Noticed with immediate effect, anyone who disregards my Calendly links will be permabanned from raising venture capital in Silicon Valley. So,
wow.
JLee, what that means is that Mark Andreessen is a convert. Like, he believes in the automated calendar. Just so happens he was one of the most powerful men or people in Silicon Valley. So people should pay attention to how he wants to schedule meetings. But what he's finding is that when he tries to use the Calendly tool, that people will ignore it because they feel like they need a higher service level to set up a meeting with him, even if they've pre-agreed that we're going to meet. Tim, you've got a look on your face. React to that for me.
I just don't get how this is a power play. I mean, I feel stupid because you see these tweets and you see these people coming, and I'm like, how is it a power play if I send you a Calendly link and say, hey, KD, here's a link to make it easier for you to set up a meeting with me that we've both agreed that we want to have happen? I don't understand how that's a power play. I don't get it.
I mean, because isn't the power play instead to say, you want to meet with me? Here is the one time I'm available. Take it or leave it. Like, that's what I do. And it's not a power play. It's really just
no, it's a power play, JLee.
I can meet at 4:30 on Friday. That's all I have for you. That's the power play, though, not the Calendly link.
So I'll tell you my own experience with automated calendars. When and Tim exists on this plane where he does a lot of work in the industry. I do less work these days, but Tim, heavy speaker. I wrote the foreword for his book, and one of the things I said is Tim Sackett has done 2,000 shitty demos of HR tech, so you don't have to. So people are trying to get to him all the time. I used to operate in that realm, and I've done less of it over the last couple of years for a lot of different reasons. But one of the things that used to drive me crazy, so there's a couple different people in the world, JLee, different types of people in the world, JLee and Tim. One is people who fully believe in automation and are not bothered by that at all in any way, under any circumstances. And then there's the other type of person that believes that there's some type of power differential in these meeting requests. So when I used to get coordinators from HR tech companies, and I said, yeah, I'm happy to meet with your guy or gal. It's fine. Set it up. They'd send me a Calendly link, and I'd be like, can I get a little more service than that? I wasn't into it. And I think that's what Andreessen is referring to. Here's another one, JLee, I'll give you. This is a guy named Antonio Garcia Martinez. He wrote Chaos Monkeys. Mm-hmm. He was reacting to these tweets. And he said that if you click, this is his tweet, if you click on that Calendly link, you're definitely someone's blank. And it rhymed with rich. So if you click on that Calendly link, you're definitely somebody's witch. So there's all types of these power dynamics. JLee, what's your perspective on this? You're like Tim, you don't see what the big deal is, right?
No, I don't see what the big deal is. I mean, I want to be a more benevolent and giving, person, glass half full, to say you are giving a Calendly link because you're trying to make the other person's life easier, not trying to go back and forth on time zones and here's what time zones available. You're just saying, here's a link. You can pick the slot that works best for you. We don't have to negotiate, and then it'll automate the next steps. So no, I don't think it's a power move. I'm glass
Okay,
half
so-
full about it.
So here's a question I should have asked like at the jump. JLee, do you use Calendly or a similar tool?
No.
Thank you. Tim, do you use Calendly or a similar tool?
No, I tried. I tried to use Calendly. God damn it. Calendly. I tried, and what I found was I overscheduled I overscheduled myself because it made it too easy. Like I actually love when someone says, "Hey, do we want to meet?" I'm like, "Sure, let me look at my calendar." And then I'll go, "Oh, like this week looks awful," right? Where before I would just send them the link and they would say, "Oh, even though the week looks awful, there's still like 5 other segments in there I can still schedule," right?
Right.
And then I would come in and I'm like, "Holy shit, I got 14 meetings today." And like, how did this happen? And it's like because that stupid Calendly link.
Right. People just eat up the capacity, correct?
Yes.
But you're giving up the link too much, though.
But no, but it enabled me to do that, right? Like now it forces me to actually look at my calendar in the week of what somebody wants or whatever and go, oh, you know what? I actually need some downtime right here. So I'm not going to allow somebody to, take this. Now you could go, if I was a forward thinker, I could go into my calendar and block those spots off and blah, blah, blah. But every week is different, right? I don't know week to week. And what I hated was I started feeling like every week was just jam-packed,
Right. Because work expands to fill Calendly capacity.
Yes.
Here's the blind spot that I would tell both of you as somebody that has like felt this, has been like, I don't know. Like, do I really like want to just like pick a time? Is that what my time is worth? I just like, if both of you have a blind spot to a service level with somebody with more power that doesn't want to use your Calendly like scheduler, there's a dynamic there. Does that make sense? So if you believe, so you're not bothered. Here's like the slicing of this. You're not bothered by the tool. And really, I'm not anymore. Like I kind of got through my like bias, like with this tool. But there's a lot of people out there that like that won't feel great to, because they expect to be served and they expect a service level and a customization that goes beyond, somebody's like shitty little like Calendly like link. So there's a blind spot, even if you don't mind it when other people come to you. If you did use the tool and you were just all in and you send it to everybody and you're asking somebody for a favor, that's the biggest thing. If you're asking somebody for a favor, it can appear really transactional to somebody that you're looking to connect with, I guess is what I would tell you.
The other power move is like if you're in a circle, and maybe this is the case in Silicon Valley where everyone is using Calendly. We all know like we're all using Calendly, and you're saying like, "Hey, Chris, like let's meet up." There's a power of who's the first to get their Calendly link out. Like, you schedule me. That's the dynamic. So that's the thing. Like, oh no, I'm giving you mine. You pick the time on mine, and you work around mine. That's the power move.
So to take Andreessen's quote, right? So anyone who disregards my Calendly link will be permabanned. That's the person, even after Mark has sent his.
Yeah.
Day goes by, and then they send their link. and now Mark is like, Andreessen's like, how dare you, sir or ma'am? Like, how dare you? Like make me like pick. You're right. Who gets the link out first? And then how does somebody deal with it if they feel that they got robbed because now they're doing the transaction of selecting versus sending out my link and I reserve 45 minutes a day. Good luck to you. That's what you get.
Katie, I feel like I get Calendly shamed because I get people reaching out to me saying, "Oh, well, just send me your Calendly link." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have one. Like, here's 3 dates and 3 times I'm available." Right?
That's
like,
because you do your life in your profession in more of a bespoke capacity. You're a custom shop,
You shouldn't
Tim.
feel shamed. You should tell them.
I think
you can talk to my assistant about my calendar.
I don't have an assistant. Yeah. Like I should. I get the virtual assistants reach all the time. Maybe I should just get one of those. What I want is an AI assistant that like learns me
Mm.
and says, I like AI goes like, and a name will be like Sheila AI will know that, hey, Thursday, Tim doesn't have anything. I'm going to block that for him because I know he'll probably want to go golfing. Like then I know I've hit the pinnacle.
That's actually not Sheila. That's actually like the person who knows you that well is me, Tim.
Yeah.
So you could just
Chris AI
like engage me, and I'll act like I'm an AI layer. And
I'll
You better check the weather.
I'll order your day accordingly. Evening golf in the spring, summer, and fall. Got the walking that happens around noontime. If you're feeling frisky,
right?
The puppy's with you this week, so we have to restrict. Okay, so I'll end with this, JLee. So we've got Calendly shame. This has been productive. We've got Calendly shame if you don't use it. I'm suggesting that there's this blind spot where like you're gonna like send a link to somebody with more power and they're just not gonna feel the love. You mentioned there's this race to get it there. How many people, let's say at the director level and above in the world, what percentage of director and level people above do you think you could actually run afoul by just brazenly using your Calendly link to schedule them? Like I believe there's a percentage out there that feels like Andreessen, Martinez, Lesson. There's people out there. What percentage is it? What's the risk?
The question.
You didn't understand the question?
I was really listening too. No, and I was listening. I'm not even multitasking.
I'm gonna do it.
And I was like, I'm not understanding.
Fair. I'm gonna do it in 7 seconds. What percentage of director level and above people, if you sent a Calendly link to, would feel offended that they didn't give a higher service level?
Oh, I think 10% or 10% at most.
Okay, Tim?
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think there's very many. I mean, so you're talking people that are above my pay grade or below? Or
I said director level and above. So
well, but it's kind of reflective of who you are, right? When you send it.
Correct.
So let's say, so for me, I say if it was somebody above me and I sent my Calendly link, probably half of those people are going to be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you know.
So you're going half.
I'm going half. But if it was below me, I don't think it would be zero.
Okay.
So I think there's some power dynamic in play of where people like see themselves compared to you, right?
So I'll end the conversation with this. I think it's interesting. I would have came in like at 20 to 25%. JLee came in at 10. And like, I'll use Tim's example. Let's say it's just people above you. And JLee, I think you were probably, those are the people who are going to be offended, right? Is the people above you, or maybe like
or they
somebody every once in a while. Yeah, right. It's all a perception thing too. So if you look at that, there's just a blind spot out there. By the way, so Sam Lesson did, again, I'll like repeat the tweet, and he had this big document. Calendly etiquette is the most raw, naked display of social capital dynamics in business. Well, what happened is like all the Calendly people just went off on him. It was like 999 out of 1,000 people who commented were just ripping him. Those were what I would call the automated calendar truthers. They're the ones that were all in on automated calendar, but there's this blind spot. And I think it's a real thing. It's an interesting conversation. I hope that Tim, I hope I made you and JLee think a little bit about the social capital dynamics related to automated calendars. It's one of the most important conversations we've had on HR Famous, as is Glassdoor inflation references, as is my, like, you have to watch Southside on HBO, which is a Max product, by the way. Southside is. All right, Tim, closing comments. Groundhog Day. Make your prediction. By the time this airs, Groundhog Day will come and go. Let's use what's the name, JLee? What's the name of the town in Pennsylvania?
Punxsutawney Phil.
Punxsutawney.
Make your prediction, and people will know. They'll Google it. Will he see a shadow or not?
If he sees his shadow, there's 6 more months of winter, right?
Weeks.
Weeks.
If he doesn't
or months in northern
if
Michigan.
you're in Michigan, yeah. If he doesn't see a shadow, then there's not more 6 more weeks.
Correct.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
He's not going to see a shadow.
JLee.
I don't think he'll see a shadow.
I think he's seeing a shadow. I think we're
JLee and I are like we're so positive and hopeful for an early summer. Yeah.
Love it. I'm down here. It's like 56 degrees in the
You're just like, I just ran
in the midst
sun
of
today.
winter. Yeah.
Snowing here.
All right. That's it for HR Famous. She's JLee. He's Tim Sackett. I'm Chris Dunn. Until next time, HR Famous citizens, we are out.